This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. We're at a press conference here to announce that Olympic silver medalist Joyce has teamed up with Frank Warren and BT Sport alongside Ringstar Sports. Frank, huge news that.
Yeah, we're absolutely delighted. We've been working on this for a little while now, and I spoke with my good friend in the States, Richard Schaefer, and between us we felt that we could work something out, and obviously having conversations with Sam Jones and Adam Morley and obviously Joe himself, we put a deal together and we're good to go. So he's going to make his debut on the 18th of May on the undercard of Billy Joe Saunders' fight at Stevenage, and that'll be the first of many that will be broadcast on BT.
Frank, let me ask, I'm assuming during the negotiations of signing Joyce, obviously Sam Jones, his manager, kind of put it out there that, you know, offering Joe as an opponent to Anthony Joshua. What were your thoughts, obviously regarding you're about to sign him, but then Sam's kind of putting him forward as a potential opponent for Anthony Joshua?
He's a silver medalist. He's got a wealth of amateur experience, the same as Anthony Joshua had. He's 8-0 now. I mean, obviously he could do with some more fights. But he's 33 years of age, and if they wanted that fight, I wouldn't step in the way. I would not step in the way. What's he got to lose? It's experience. The worst thing it'd be is experience if he got beat. And he can whack, he can punch. He's obviously sparred with Anthony over the years as amateurs, so he fancies it. But, you know, if it was there, I doubt if it would happen, because obviously they've got a show in the States. They'll be looking for an American opponent, I would think, to replace, what's his name, Miller. So he's not an American, but if they were, I'm sure he'd jump in. But in the meantime, as that was news to me today, in the meantime, he's fighting on the 18th of May, as I say, at Stevenage.
You said it was news to you today. You didn't know that Sam was putting him out as a possible opponent for Joshua?
I didn't, you know, that was, people do things, but, you know, they're obviously he's obviously quite serious about it. So for me, it could be done, then do it.
Frank, the British Boxing Board of Control put out on their circular yesterday that a deal had been reached for the potential fight between Dubois and Joyce, cancelling any kind of subsequent purse bids. Can you tell me what that actually means in terms of, does that fight happen in the summer?
What happens is that we've got a spanner in the works at the moment. We've got a show on Saturday, and we've got Daniel Dubois was due to fight Richard Lartey, who went to the embassy, the British Embassy in Accra in Ghana. His team got all their visas. He didn't get his visa. So we got in touch with the Home Office here, and they've been very helpful. They're trying to facilitate this. He's supposed to be here today for a press conference, Lartey. We will know today whether he's going to be granted that visa. If he does, then he'll get here for tomorrow for the weigh-in, and obviously Daniel will fight. Whilst that's happening, we're also looking at other opponents for Daniel. We've only had a couple of days' notice. We've obviously got a limited pool to what we can look for an opponent, because obviously we can't bring anybody in from States because of the board's regulations of how long a fighter's got to be in this country before he's allowed to fight, and also that they have all their medicals in place. So we will make a decision this evening as to what the position will be once we know where we are with Lartey and our other options with Daniel, whether he's going to top the bill, whether he's not going to fight. We will make that decision this evening, and then that will lead us for next week to have a press conference with Joe, with Daniel, and with Nathan Gorman, who is also with us. So our three heavyweights will be sitting here talking about their plans, which will include all of them fighting on a show on the 13th of July at the O2.
So if this situation isn't sorted out today, you're saying there's a strong possibility that Dubois may not feature on the show on Saturday?
That's what I'm saying, but we won't know that till later, so it's a bit moot at the moment to sort of make that decision. We don't know yet what's happening.
But regardless of whatever situation happens, the show will definitely still go on.
The show will go on. It'd be unfair for the youngsters to be not getting their fights. There's some good cracking fights on the card. It's just very disappointing, as I say, for Daniel, and I'm really annoyed and peed off regarding his visa situation. You know, they're telling us that the visa was all in order, they went, you know, and so forth. But anyway, it's not happened, so we're dealing with that now.
Frank, are you saying that this...
I'm very disappointed with the fans that we've got this influx at the moment.
Frank, are you saying that this situation regarding Lartey and Dubois kind of is has a knock-on effect of what would have possibly happened between Dubois and Joyce.
Of course it does. You know, Daniel's not got the experience that Joe's had, and he needed this fight. Hopefully, we'll resolve it. The bottom line is, I'm not even going to go into what the situation is with them or even with Nathan until next week. It's pointless. It's a pointless discussion, because not until we know where we are with Daniel, not until we know where we are over the weekend, can we make even the slightest decision on that, because I need to speak to everybody.
So you announce your show at the O2 formally next week for the 13th of July, despite some other promoters saying that July 13th date was a date that they were using a Matchroom show on. You obviously have that date and have always had that date, Frank.
We've had the date for a long while. We paid for it. It's been booked for, and I won't be announcing the venue if I didn't have it. I mean, we have moved dates in the past when we've clashed, but we booked the venue and paid for it. So that's where we're at. We was hoping to get the Kovalev fight on there as well at one stage. That's how long ago we booked it with Anthony Yarde. But that looks like it's going to Russia now.
We'll come on to that in a second. So we've got 2 back-to-back shows at the O2 within a week of each other, which obviously doesn't apply to fights being on the same night, but in terms of tickets, etc., being at the same venue, how much of an impact will that have kind of on each other's shows?
I don't know. You know, at the end of the day, I don't know what their show is, by the way, but I know our show is going to be a really good show. It's going to be quality fights, and there's going to be a very, very good heavyweight fight on there. So I would like to believe that it will be, it'll stand up. It'll have a stand up or it won't. I mean, people have the opportunities, if they can afford it, to buy both the shows or pick which show they're going to go to.
The Matchroom show is a pay-per-view show with headlined by Dylan White.
Pay-per-view. Ours is not a pay-per-view.
I was just going to come on to that. So yours is definitely not pay-per-view.
My big thing about clashing the shows was pay-per-view shows clashing. That was what my big thing. Of course shows clash over the time they clash, but they're not clashing on the same night. They're a week apart.
So your words in the press conference were it's going to be a heavy-duty night. Can we speculate on what possibly could go on that?
You can speculate as much as you like.
I can speculate now.
Speculate.
You're talking about Joyce, Gorman, Dubois. So I'm assuming out of all that, 2 of those fighters will fight each other. Which 2, I don't know.
Well, that's good speculation. We'll know next week, won't we?
But there's also rumours that there's a European title fight there for Joe Joyce as well.
Number one, so I understand he's been nominated to be for the European title, so we will see.
Frank, just going on to Billy Joe Saunders, you said that you'd spoken to Bob Arum, who said to you that it's very likely that Gilberto Ramirez will vacate the title because he can't make the weight anymore. When do you expect to kind of have hopeful confirmation of that?
Well, he told me a couple of days ago that they would be writing to the WBO, so hopefully that'll be done very, very soon.
Which obviously was the original plan to have that for the full version, so a few weeks out, that will be the ideal situation.
£90, didn't he, for that fight, I believe. And so, you know, he's obviously struggling to make the weight, so that's where we are.
Joe Joyce has been added to this card now for his first kind of Queensberry and BT Sport debut. Opponent-wise, you said in the press conference that it's going to be kind of in keeping with the kind of opponents that he's already been facing.
Yes, that's correct.
Is that card now done, Frank, for Stevenage? Are you adding anything else to that?
Not sure yet. Not sure. But it's a good card as it is now. It's a great card, and we'll let you know. We'll let you know.
Okay. Frank, what can you tell us about Anthony Yarde travelling over to Russia to fight Sergei Kovalev? There's been reported figures of like 4 million he's being paid, etc., etc. What can you tell us?
Well, I don't know where they get all these numbers from, because they certainly not come from us. A lot of speculation, a lot of things have been said. At the end of the day, until, you know, we believe at the end of the day that fight will happen, and we believe that we're quite close to making it happen. We're just waiting. You know, it's a matter of negotiating the contract at the moment.
But Anthony Yarde will definitely travel to Russia to fight Sergei Kovalev.
At the moment, that's what it looks like, subject to contract.
Looking for an announcement next week, possibly?
Well, I think as soon as it's signed, we want to get the thing out there and rolling. That's the bottom line of it, you know. And Anthony, I'll tell you one thing, Anthony's so keen for the fight, he wants to fight badly. I mean, it's not something he's trying to duck out of.
A lot of people, again, would have said that it were unlikely that Yarde would have taken the fight, let alone go to Russia, but it looks like he's doing both, taking the fight and going to Russia.
There's a lot of people say a lot of things, all this social media, all this stuff. I don't take a lot of notice of all what they say. At the end of the day, it's the deeds that matter, isn't it? And Anthony Yarde is a guy that, we worked very hard. We thought we thought Kovalev was going to come here. We thought we were quite close to getting that done, but it didn't I won't go into the reason why, but it didn't for a reason. But the bottom line is the fight. I believe it has to happen because the WBO have ordered it, and as I say, we're working very hard to make sure that Anthony gets what he wants, which is a crack at the title, and he believes he has the ammunition, so do I, to win the world title.
Just chucking this in, Frank, is there any possibility this doubles up with your July 13th as a double night on BT Sports, shall we say?
The problem you've got is the time difference. They're earlier, aren't they? It's not, Russia is, depending on what part of Russia it goes in, for about 2-3 hours in front. So we'll see. But I wouldn't, go there on that. It won't be a pay-per-view night, that's for sure.
Yarde-Kovalev wouldn't be pay-per-view, or would it?
It would be on it. I think over here you could do that, with a big show, but it's not going to be here, so it won't be a pay-per-view show.
Frank, what were your thoughts on Amir Khan and Terence Crawford from the weekend? A bit of an anticlimax and a bit of a bizarre ending.
It was an anticlimax. I thought the first round just said what the fight was going to happen in the fight. He did what he had to do. Amir's, his pluses that he has is his speed, and it just wasn't there. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who pulled him out, whether he pulled himself out, whether the trainer pulled him out. It's a blessing in disguise that he was pulled out, because that was going to wind up one way, that fight. And at the end of the day, I think he should retire now.
You believe he should retire, yeah?
I do. I mean, what's he going to do? So even if it happened now, that fight they've talked about for 100 years between him and Kell Brook, it's still a domestic bust up and that, but and they make money out of it. But somebody's going to get hurt in that fight, and I don't, and Amir's form on that fight didn't look too good, albeit he was in with one of the best fighters in the world. It's fine. You earn a nice few quid. You bank it, but you want to know what bank you put it into. And when you keep having tough fights, they do have a lasting effect on you, on your health and your well-being. He doesn't need to fight anymore.
Obviously, a big talking point from it was, even though he was pulled out from Virgil Hunter, but people saying that Amir Khan quit. Some people saying that, or Amir Khan himself saying that he didn't quit in the fight. What was your take on that situation, Frank?
My take on it don't matter whether he quit or he was pulled. It was the best thing to happen, because that was just going to wind up one way. Look, he didn't. People want to see him go out on his shield. At the end of the day, he didn't wait the full 5 minutes that he was allowed to take. He didn't take the full 5 minutes, so he's either hurt really bad or he didn't fancy it anymore.
Frank, any indication of how the pay-per-view numbers done on BT Sport for that fight?
I got no idea. I've got no idea at the moment. It's I don't know what the numbers are.
Ticket sales, Stevenage, Leeds, how are they doing, Frank? Any updates?
They're all doing well. They're doing extremely well, and well, I think the Leeds one will be, obviously, is nigh on a sellout, and it will be sold out on the night. Still a couple of months to go, and Stevenage is going extremely well. We're delighted with it.
So I understand Tyson Fury's tickets for his fight with Tom Schwartz in Las Vegas went on sale, I believe, yesterday. Is there any news on whether that will be pay-per-view, Frank, the Fury fight on BT?
That I don't know yet. There'll be an announcement, obviously, due course, on what's going to happen with that.
Will any of your other fighters feature on that top rank card?
We've got a space for one on there, and we're working on it at the moment, who it's going to be.
Okay. Frank, what was your thoughts on that failed test from Gerald Miller? It seems to be happening more and more now in the sport.
Disappointing. I mean, it's awful. It's disappointing for the fans. It's disappointing for the people who bought tickets to fly out there. He's done a really stupid thing. I mean, it's a big payday for him, Miller. He's got previous, I know, for it, and he's let himself down badly, and it's ridiculous. And, I was reading somewhere the other day that I think it's 5 out of 10 of the top heavyweights have failed tests. It's prevalent. They're the ones who are getting caught. It's prevalent. So what are you going to do about it? You've got to do something about it. I think if you want to eradicate, there's two ways to do it. You're either going to let everybody take drugs, which I don't think should be allowed, or you've got to come with some draconian bans, and you want to stop it. You take away their livelihood. You also should be making them. If you want to reapply for a license, you've got to tell us where you got those drugs from, who provided them, because at the end of the day, somebody has given them the drugs. Somebody, and do I think that all fighters do it off their own bat? Are there any trainers involved with this? Who knows? I don't know the answers to that. But somebody's giving them to them, and somebody must be aware that they're taking them. So you want to eradicate. You've got to be really get down on it now. You've got to stop this. You've got to hit everybody involved, and then kill it and stop it from happening. Because it's ruining the sport. It's not fair on the fans, and it's not fair on the opponents. The guys who are. For example, Anthony Joshua, is not fair on him, and it's happened to a few other fighters. It's just not fair on them.
Frank, a lot of people say there should be a lifetime ban for like Miller, but where do you kind of draw the line from? If you fail a test, should you be given a life ban then? There's a grey area there as well, Frank.
He's got previous for it, hasn't he? So that's what it should be. That's what it should be, and in my opinion. Look, there's only one way to stop. You want to stop it. If you today say, I want to stop this happening in the sport, it's very simple. Not just us in boxing. They've got a problem in cycling. They've got a problem in athletics. They've got problems in lots of sports, weightlifting, you name it. They've all got problems. You want to stop it, simple. Ban them for life. Or 10 years or 5 years. And out of a sportsman's life, that's a long, long time. It's a long time. But you really want to get into it. You really want to take it beyond, because I don't believe boxers just take it off their own back. Somebody's got to say, take this is good for you, try this, try that. Somebody must know what's going on. Get them. You get into the people who are giving it to them, and that will absolutely kill it.
It's an ongoing situation. Frank, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Have you got anything else you'd like to add before we finish?
Yes, I felt like some people would like to probably see me doing it, slashing my wrist after seeing those last two Arsenal results.
Horrendous. Do we make top four?
I don't think so. But listen, the other teams are falling over and we can't capitalise on it. But we look dreadful. The defence is awful, bloody awful.
I think we knew it was going to be difficult at Wolves, but we were banking on a home win against Palace. And when you look,
the team selection, I didn't understand it, and I didn't understand the defence. It's just non-existent. It's so sloppy. But the only way you're going to deal with that, you've got to give the man some money. You've got to give him his opportunity, Emery. You've got to give him money and allow him to go buy players. If they don't buy players, this is going to be what it's going to be like for the next few years.
Just one more question, Frank. Sorry. So you're going to obviously announce your show for July next week. Is there anything coming kind of before kind of the summer months of like June, July, August? Is there anything else coming?
Show in June, which is we've got two shows in June, haven't we? We've got the show with Josh and Kid Galahad at Leeds Arena, and we've also got the show in America on the same night that we're involved with Top Rank. So that's our June. So we've got our May date. Hopefully we got Daniel on Saturday, and we got a big show in July. So we're quite busy and delivering some decent shows, I hope.
I'll step in for a latte if you want, Frank. If you get
a coffee, a latte, what we're milking, or a milky latte. Yeah.
I'll step in if you pay me well, Frank. I'm in there.
Pay you well, yeah. I think, should we have a crowdfunder? We do a crowdfunder to pay him. Actually, we don't even need it. Get him in there. Do you reckon?
Tell me that it won't add to your numbers on BT Sport if I was getting knocked out by Dubois.
That's what I'm saying. I think we're crowdfunding. I think you'd get overwhelmed. You'd make a fortune.
Something to consider. Frank Rodden, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV, and we'll catch up with you over the weekend.
Cheers, mate.